everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to another video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons race description. And today, from the Races of Destiny, we are going to be talking about the Illumians. We got quite a few pictures of these guys. We got the main picture there, just a little sketch. There's actually quite a bit of art of these guys. You got this guy here, this little Illumian spy. There's actually a large amount of art for these guys in the Races of Destiny. You got those guys. Looks like a Cabal. And I believe there was one more piece of art that I saw that really just showed off what an Illumian looks like for any of you that might be curious. There we go. Bang, right there. And then we got that guy right there. Boom. So, yes, Illumians. Well, let's go over them because there's a lot to unpack with these guys. So, and there's actually a lot of controversy over this. I have my opinions on this, although I know that not everybody agrees. So, let's go over this. So, first off, they're very similar to humans in a lot of ways, but there are some significant differences. So let's slowly go over these things. First off, there are humanoid humans. So they're considered human. Excuse me. Wow, I think that's the first time that's ever happened in a video. Anyway, so they are considered human. Now, that's cool. So that means that for any effects that target specifically humans, Illumians count as human. So for all practical effects, Illumians count as humans, except for when determining like favorite enemies and Bane and all that fun stuff. When determining whether you qualify for a prestige class, no. So stuff like that, it wouldn't count as human. They are Illumian. Next up, they're medium, same as human. The baseline speed's 30 feet, again, same as humans. This is where they start to differ, though. They give luminous sigils. So basically, they have these little sigils, as you saw in some of the pictures, that just sort of float around their heads. So they provide about as much light as a candle, and they can suppress them, although they lose the abilities that they get from them, which they get some pretty nice abilities. That's actually what makes an Illumian worthwhile, is their sigils. Without their sigils, they're basically a human that doesn't get the extra feat and skills. So yeah. So they also get something called glyphic resonance. So basically, what that means is Illumians, glyphs and runes and things of that nature function weird for them. Effectively, what it means is that if the caster is higher level than you, you take a -4 penalty on your saves against any spell like that. But if you're at the same level or higher than them, you actually are immune. It just has to do with it's just a weird quirk of being an Illumian. So basically, when they try and cast it against you, one of two things will happen. Either the power of this rune or glyph or whatever kind of spell it is, either that'll overpower your Illumian nature and just mess with it, which is why you take the -4 penalty, or you overpower their spell and make it useless, which is why you're immune. So it really just depends on who's higher level. Tie goes to you. Then you also get power sigils. This is where the big controversy among works, because there's some really weird wording going on here. So it says at first level you get your first power sigil. That much is straightforward. Then it says on attaining second level in any class, an Illumian gets gains a second different power sigil, and the bonus granted by each power sigil increases to +2. That's where it gets tricky. So that's a really weird wording. From looking at the behind the curtains, it's very clear that it does want you to multi-class, because just from how it's worded, it sounds like just reaching second level, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So how I interpret it, personally, is that once you reach a second level in a second class, so you have to be multi-class and you have to be at least second level in probably both classes, and that will count, and then you can get your second power sigil. Now, where that much isn't too disagreed upon, and if people do, it doesn't affect things too much. Where the real controversy lies is in, well, what happens if you take 3 classes? Or 4 or 5? That actually can change things a lot. It's hard to say whether or not you gain more power sigils as you gain more classes. The book doesn't specifically say you do, but there is a certain implication. It's really up to your DM, so that's where it gets crazy. But even with 2, you definitely want a multi-class, because a single power sigil on its own, it just gives you a +1 to various things. It really depends on which one. You want to pick one that really fits with whatever you're going for. These guys are just as versatile as humans, so they're just as capable of becoming like a wizard as they are a fighter. So whichever route you're going for, pick the sigil that really applies to the build you're trying to make. Now, if you're multi-classing, which you should, you get 2 of them, and they're both +2s, so they're better. And on top of that, you can combine them together to make a word, which gives you another bonus. So, it's specific. So for every combination of words there are, or sigils there are, there's a word. So you pick 2 sigils, and then you have that creates 1 word. You don't get to pick the word exactly. I mean, you can, but you pick it by picking the sigils. So that's kind of how that works. But the question is, do you get more? Can you get multiple? And then do you get more sigil? Does that make more words? Hard to say. I'd say leave that up to the DM. But yeah. Next up, they get final utterance, which is basically a death throes, except for it doesn't seem to do anything mechanically. Basically, it just makes it so that for 1 round equal to your level, you utter gibberish that everyone around you can hear. So everyone's just hearing gibberish in their heads. Doesn't seem to affect them at all. It's just sort of a flavor thing for the most part. Although it can have some, it did say that it can have some effects. It can be prophetic, or it can be a curse as well. So, that's kind of largely up to the DM to decide. Then let's see, they also get +2 bonus on saves against spells with the shadow descriptor. Kind of cool. Superior literacy is interesting. Basically, they are always literate regardless of class features. So if you're a barbarian, your literacy class feature doesn't happen. You can still read as a barbarian without having to spend any skill points or multi-class. Although in all honesty, you'd probably multi-class as an Illumian anyways. That part actually is a little bit redundant because of the multi-classing feature and how you like that. I don't know why you would multi-class into 2 different classes that have illiteracy. I only know of barbarian off the top of my head. There's probably others, but yeah, it'd be weird to. It's an unusual build to do 2 of them. Might be a good one though. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not familiar with any others that have illiteracy. But in addition to that, they also always have speak language as a class skill, which means that instead of normally how you can spend 2 skill points to gain a language, they can do it with 1. So they can gain a new language every level. That's kind of cool. Not very many classes can do that. Bards, factotums, those are the only ones I know off the top of my head that actually get speak language. There's a few prestige classes that I've discussed on here that have that as well, but it's rare to have that as a class skill. Let's see. They also have automatic languages of Common and Illumian. Cool. Bonus languages of any, except for, of course, secret languages like Druidic. No one ever has that. The only way to get that is to be a Druid. But in favorite class, any, just like a human. So just like with automatic languages, just like with their not automatic languages, because they also have Illumian. They also have their bonus languages are the same as the human, but they also have favorite class any, just like a human. But in addition, they also it also specifically states that monks and paladins, the restriction on multiclassing with them doesn't apply for Illumians. And that those are the only ones specifically mentioned. However, I suspect that would apply to any class that has a similar restriction to a monk or a paladin. So Illumians can just ignore that and they can just multi-class freely however they want. Although they still have to be a little bit careful. You can't go too crazy multi-classing, taking like 5 or 6 classes and making them super uneven. Because you can still take, well, even 3 and making them super uneven, you can still take penalties. So you got to be a little bit careful, but less so than others. They're actually probably one of the best for that. So, in all honesty, that's mostly all there is to Illumians. They're certainly a good race. I've seen them done very well. One of my friends, he had an Illumian cohort that he used to great effect. She was a wizard, although absolutely do not have to be a caster. You can very, very easily do this as a martial build or a rogue type build or a Thurge. Actually, a Thurge would probably be great for an Illumian. They'd probably be a little better at it than most. So, yeah, they're honestly a great race. Highly recommend them. So, yeah, if you guys have anything you want to say, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I always appreciate that. Also, if you liked the video, please give me a like. That definitely helps. And share it with your friends if you really liked it, because that actually helps quite a bit. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Just click the little link right there. Maybe click the little bell down below. Also, check out more videos down in the links right there. And as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you